people who live off the land and who live on the land. We live very much on the ice, using the ice, sea ice and lake ice. We are taught as young people to be very cautious about lake water because it's very brittle, more so than saltwater ice. So we have always been taught to do these kinds of things, but there's always been accidents too, particularly in the fall time and particularly in the springtime when the fish were running downstream, Arctic char. When the fish were running downstream, it's extremely important for Inuit to go and fish at the river, at the mouth of the river, for example. And people go fishing when the fish were going down back to the sea for the summer. And it happened to my own family too. My little brother drowned in 1968 while they were fishing when the fish were running downstream, and he and the young boy, 12 years old, they were playing by the water or by the sea, and he fell and slided down into the water, and he couldn't go back up. In the Arctic, if you fall in the water, because the water is so cold, you could die within minutes. And today, people who travel by dog team, or not by dog team, but snowmobile, or all-terrain vehicle, and a lot of this has to do with climate change and global warming too, because ice doesn't get as thick as it used to. And global warming impact means that knowledge of the Inuit hunter is not the same as it used to be 45, 50 years ago. So 50 years ago, you know that ice would get 5 inches thick, for example, maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker at the end of each October. So you would go out fishing. And you still do that today, going out fishing at the end of October. So what happened number of times, for example, that couple up in Kokloktok copper mine, they went out fishing at the end of October, something they've been doing for the last 35, 40 years. And they went out to the same lake thinking that it's still 5 inches thick or so. And when they got there with their all-terrain vehicle, both of them fell through the ice and they didn't make it. And same thing happened with a number of other people, friends of mine up in Joe Haven. So we try to tell the hunters, fishers, caribou hunters, especially in the fall time, when you're traveling on the land, avoid lakes because they're very, very thin. So avoid going through the lakes in the fall time. Otherwise, you're going to have an accident and you may not make it. Avoid these things. Avoid going into the lake and you'll be safe. So we do this through the local radio. We also do it with Facebook. I've done it quite a few times. And we also do it with CBC radio territorially. So we try to teach our people not to go into, to be on the lookout for danger in the springtime, in the fall time, both at the lakes as well as at the flow edge down by the at the flow edge when you're out seal hunting, because you could also be broken away from the main ice and disappear into the big ocean, you know. So we try to take safety measures as much as we could and get people to think about safety first when they're going out hunting on the land in the fall time, springtime.